Hello. It is me, Tanika Finney. And so I am here with Rosa with Rosa. And today we don't have Rosé. We are doing a sparkling wine. And I love the Cali Rose of the 19 Crimes so much that I wanted to go ahead and try out the rest of the 19 Crimes. So today we are trying the Cali Gold, Snoop Dogg again. And so this is a sparkling wine, and I opened it and everything because it had one of those little corks, and so William had to open it for me. And so I am enjoying it. It's much lighter, uh, like a white wine, sparkly and everything, but I got it in my little glass cup, and this is probably the wrong glass for it because it doesn't have the stem, so my hand is warming it. So that's why I'm holding it um, more of like that instead of like this. Um, so, um, so that is what's going on with the wine today, and so it is um, the Snoop Dogg um, Cali Gold of 19 Crimes, and I'm just enjoying this particular wine. Don't forget, make sure you have that background, white background. Check it out. Um, Sniff and palette. When you do it that way, you can taste more of the sharp. I say sharp, but the floral notes that's in there as well. So do that um, going forward. And I will say, my notes. I have my notes, and they are just disorganized. I don't know what's going on with me. So give me just 1 second to get organized. And today is going to be a short day. And the reason why is because I'm starting so late. It's like 10:45. My bedtime is like 11 o'clock. And uh, so, yeah, it is. So we're going to get through this, and then I'm going to go get ready for bed. So I have about another 10 minutes to go through this. So we are sort of kind of going, we have our three topics. We have the estate planning, taxes, and the wine. So as always, we're going to start off with the estate planning. And today we've talked about the importance of it. And one of the things that I get so often, all the time, is what is the difference between a will and a trust? And I'm like, I don't know how often I talk about the difference between a will and a trust. I really don't. And that's because I'm in estate planning. People don't know, and I don't have an issue telling them what it is. Now, I do have content out. Actually, I took all that down. So I'm going to have to repost my frequently asked questions. I will be working on those over the weekend. Probably, is it this weekend? Yes, I will be working on that over the weekend. So that's going to be, for me, a great thing. So, I don't know. Do we like this lighting? I'm trying out something new. I don't have the overhead lighting going on. And so this is a little bit is darker, but I think I like this a little bit better than with the overhead lights on. So what I'll do is I'll probably pause the stream for just a moment while I go put up the sparkling wine, put it in the refrigerator, and go from there. So let's see. I don't know if you can actually pause the stream. No. So what I am going to do, what I'm going to do is just go ahead and get through everything, and then we're going to put the things up. I got my candle lit. This is bright. That is a Yankee candle, one of those Christmas. It's actually the Yankee jar, but what I ended up was taking some different wax and refilling it. I bought the little wax things and melt them down, and then sort of kind of refill from different jars. And that way, when I'm tossing the jars or um, doing whatever with them, then it really works well. And I got this idea from Bridget. She used to work up at McPhillips Shinbom, and one of the things that she talked about was that she would take out these jars. If she loved the jar or whatnot, she would take it and she would make it into like a candy dish. And so she would get all the wax out. She would boil it and wash it real good. And she would get like these Dollar Tree candelabra things and then glue it on there and then have a little lid for it. And she would make little candy dishes. She was absolutely amazing, creative chick. But we're going to go ahead and hop into what we were talking about. We are going to start off with the estate planning. And so I got my notes here. And so we got wills and trusts, and basically the difference between those. And um, so wills and trusts are basically they are the most essential. The will is the absolute most basic thing that you can get for an estate. Okay, yeah, because no matter what, if you have a will or trust or not, you have an estate plan. It's whether it's going to be by the state that you live in or that you pass away in or that you're resident in, or you're going to have one that you create on your own terms. And so the will that you're drafting is like the most basic thing. That is, you can even do like a holographic will, and that is just writing it on paper, having your intent, getting it signed, notarized, and all that other good stuff. But I would always suggest, even if you do like Rocket Lawyer or something of that nature, get some type of will. Okay, as I said, that is like the most basic that you can go with. Now, um, so wills. A will is a legal document that outlines how you want your assets to be distributed after your death. Listen, after your death. And it allows you to name the guardians of minor children, specify beneficiaries for your property, and appoint an executor to manage your estate. And so what that basically means is if you have children, I know that we have like children's trust, and then we have like the kids protection plans and things of that nature. Those are very important. And what it is that it is somewhat of an addendum to your will, appendix type thing, because you're still going to name your children designations in your will. But with the kids protection plan is more of getting it out there in the forefront early on, time something happens. This is the intent, especially when you got short-term guardians or anything of that nature. So you want to make sure that's there. And it does go through the probate process. Now the probate process is, I'm gonna read it like this: a court supervised process to authenticate the will, settle debts, and distribute assets. Probate can be time consuming and may involve legal fees. Okay, I know some people that are doing it on their own, and guess what they're doing? They are calling around to different attorneys on a regular basis, trying to get directions what they need to do next. They're constantly at the courthouse asking, "Hey, what do I need to do next?" And the clerks tell them, "You need to get an attorney." Well, they want to do it on their own, or whatnot. They may not want to pay an attorney, may not be enough to pay an attorney to go through that process. And so that's one of the things that comes into play. But then again, it's also that it is public. It is a public situation. And so all your information is just out there. Now, and it becomes part of public records. And so if you have millions of dollars that you've left in a will, or $100,000 or whatever amount of money you left, a home or something, public will see that. They will know what you had and what you didn't have at the time of your death, and who's it going to. And so this is where scam artists come in and they scour. I'm not trying to scare you, but they come in, they scour the records and see what's going on with the records. And then guess what? Now they know who they need to reach out to. The information is there, and it becomes um, an issue down the road. So that's one of the things. And so the thing about wills, you can always update them on a regular basis. I know some people, I think it was Aretha Franklin who had like all these little holographic wheels all over her house or something. Yeah, I don't know if they were actually, if they were considered um, legal wills, but I know that she had like many of them handwritten just around her home. And they're going by 11 o'clock alarm. So we're going to keep going on. And so the will provides a straightforward way to express your wishes regarding asset distribution. It is straightforward. And with minor children, you want to make sure that those assets are allocated properly. Now, a trust, and this is where trust fund babies come into play. You can make yourself a trust fund baby. You can make your kids trust fund babies. You don't have to be super rich to have a trust fund or a trust. You don't. That's gotten warm, and so I'm gonna put that up in just a second. So a trust is basically a legal arrangement or legal agreement where a trustee holds the assets on behalf of the beneficiaries according to the terms specified in the trust document. Okay. And so it can be revocable or irrevocable. So if it's revocable, you as the grantor can go in, make changes as you see fit, whenever you feel like it. If you want to go and make changes every single day because today your kids made you upset and tomorrow they're just loving and everything, you can do that. It allows you to retain, the revocable trust allows you to retain control over your assets, while irrevocable trusts are typically, I use that word typically, permanent. And so what ends up happening is you can't do much about making changes. And if your kids upset you and you want to not leave anything for them, then you can't go and change it. You might have to go to court. You might have to get all the beneficiaries' permission, all this other stuff. So be careful about that when you are versus revocable. Now, the thing about irrevocable is very, very protective. It will protect, especially if you're getting older, it will protect your assets and stuff. And it will allow you, it will reduce what you own, what your estate will own. And so when you pass away, or when you look at paper, look at your finances on paper, I have nothing, I own nothing. And so you get benefits, you get those entitlements, or like Medicaid, Medicare, things of that nature. So you want to take that into consideration, especially if you are going to be going into a nursing home. Okay, so or assisted living, because they will put a lien on your house and your property. Uh, so assets placed in the trust generally avoid probate. Okay, offering privacy and potentially saving time and money. Trust can provide greater control over how and when assets are distributed. For example, you can stipulate that beneficiaries receive assets at a certain age or milestone. So I get this a lot. My back is very, very itchy. I get this question a lot. I'll leave my home in a will. Okay, that's fine. You can leave it. But I don't want my family or whoever I'm leaving it to get it until they turn the age of 18 and stuff like that. You can, or they turn 30. You can do that in a trust. A will, it will be difficult to do. Because over that time, what you're doing is you're going to be asking the executor to maintain this house. But most courts, they'll look at it, and unless you got some life estate going on and all this other stuff, they're just going to give it to the person. And the trust can protect your assets from creditors and lawsuits and provide ongoing management if the beneficiaries are minors or unable to manage their own inheritance. That includes special needs, trusts, or individuals with special needs, and in some instances, elderly individuals. Okay, so basically, trusts are they're a lot more flexible, and then they have the privacy. And I think this is more for the complex estate planning versus the simple estate planning. And so they do allow the customization of asset distribution, asset protection, and can accommodate the needs of beneficiaries. And so what happens is at the end of the day, you do have to choose between whether you want a trust or a will. And that's where you sit down, you talk to the attorney. The attorney's like, oh yeah, let's sit down, let's plan this out, and what's going to be best for you. You know what's best for you. Your attorney is going to just give you the options, show you what things are, and then they are going to ask you what you want. Because at the end of the day, you are the client, you're the one paying for it, and um, that's going to be the best bet. Now, some of them, there are some attorneys that will say, you need to go with the trust. You need to go with this. You need to go with that. I just provide all the information, then I let you make that decision. Okay, and so in a lot of estate plans, with my estate plans, I have a will package, then I have a trust package. My trust package include a will and a trust, and the reason why it has both of those is because if you forget to put something in a trust, it's covered in the will. Okay, and so that's one of the things, and then you can pour over into that trust by using a will. And so it just depends on your individual circumstances and where you really want to go with it, the family dynamics, and if you like privacy. So that is the thing with the wills and everything, wills and the trust. Now we're gonna go ahead, hop on over to the traditional IRA versus the Roth IRA. I don't know if I'm looking in the camera enough, but this is because I am using my notes and it's sort of kind of dark. So with the Roth IRAs and traditional IRAs, both are individual retirement accounts, but they have different distinct tax treatments. And so choosing between them, you really have to make that determination based on your own financial situation, your goals, and tax considerations. And so we're going to start off with the traditional IRA. Okay. So with the traditional IRA, you have contributions to a traditional IRA. They're tax deductible and in the year that they are made. And that way, when you down the road, when you start drawing from it, it will, well, as far as the contributions, not when you're drawing from it or withdrawals. What happens is, I don't want to confuse you. So, tax deductible in the year that they are made. And so, what ends up happening is it reduces your taxable income. Okay. And so, this is bringing your tax liability down and hopefully to, in some instances, to different tax brackets. Okay. And so earnings with this investment within a traditional IRA grow tax deferred, meaning you won't pay taxes on the gains until you withdraw the funds in retirement. So that's where I was going a little bit earlier, but then I stopped myself. Okay. And so the tax deferred can help with investments and compound faster. So that's what's going on there. Now, additionally, the distributions or withdrawals, they are subject to the income tax in retirement. So that means you'll be paying taxes on the withdrawals at your ordinary income rate. Okay. So you're required to start taking required minimum distributions at the age of 72, or some instances 70 and a half under some of the older rules. Okay. And so when to use a traditional IRA. So when you want to use it is when you expect that your tax rate in retirement is going to be lower than it is today. So hopefully you've made enough planning that your retirement is just going to be like zero. And so that's why you're going to want to do that down the road. And if you want to just reduce your current taxable income or whatnot. And we talked about, I did mention about bringing it down as far as the tax brackets are concerned. Okay, so that's the traditional IRA, the contributions, earnings, withdrawals, and just when to use it. So we're going to go through the Roth IRA, and basically the Roth IRA contributions are made after you pay taxes on your income. So you don't get a upfront tax deduction. However, when you withdraw at any time, it's tax-free and penalty-free. And so that is where it's making that flexible savings options available to you. And so the investments with the IRA are the same as the traditional in that they grow tax-free. And so when you withdraw that money in retirement, the earnings are tax-free as long as the account has been open for at least 5 years and you meet certain requirements. You're going to have to meet requirements, and there go that 5 years. Where else did we see that 5 years? Medicaid, assisted living, and those liens against homes and property. 5-year threshold, okay? So remember that. Withdrawals. Roth IRAs offer tax-free withdrawals in retirement, and there are no required minimum distributions. And this means that you have more flexibility in managing your retirement income and can leave the account with heirs without immediate tax consequences. So that's going to be something that you want to take into consideration as well. Okay. Okay. So when to use a Roth IRA. So they're beneficial if you anticipate being in a higher tax bracket in retirement. And so it's basically allowing you to lock in on today's lower tax rates, as opposed to in the future, if you have higher tax rates, you'll be paying higher. They're ideal for long-term growth. And so this is good for young people or younger individuals. Roth IRAs can provide tax diversification by offering a source of tax-free income in retirement, which can help in managing your tax liability. And so that is going back. This is all on taxes, right? Right. So that's what we're looking at as far as the difference between the Roth and traditional IRAs. So we are at about 24 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to talk a little bit about the wine terrors, and then I'm going to go ahead and hop off. So spend about 6 minutes on this. Okay. So with the wine terrors, I'm going to read what my notes say right here. So wine terroir is a French term that refers to the unique combination of natural factors and human influence that define the characteristics of a specific wine producing region. It encompasses various elements of the environment, including soil, climate, topography, and local traditions, which all contribute to the distinct taste, aroma, and overall quality of the wine produced in that particular area. Terroir plays a significant role in wine production and is a fundamental concept in the world of wine. And so here's, I think I got 7. Yes, 7. I told you I got all my papers mixed all up. So yes, I have 7 here. And because I spent you on the other ones. So the first one is soil. So the type of soil in a vineyard affects the composition of the grapes. Okay, so you're not seeing grown in red clay. Okay, so soil does have an impact on what's growing in your area and how that is maintained and everything of that nature. And so um, it just provides the different levels of nutrients, how they drain, the water holding capacity. That's a lot goes into just growing the grapes, okay? And this has an impact on the flavor at the end of the day. And so it is. So I have this example. Limestone-rich soil can impart mineral and chalky notes to a wine, while clay soils can provide richness and structure. Okay, I don't uh, that red clay. I remember growing up with it. I have never seen anything grow in red clay, so that's probably not the soil that's going to go with grapes. I don't know. I don't know much about soil. And then you're going to look at the climate. Climate includes everything. Sometimes you have like cold areas, warm areas, and that does make a difference. Rainfall versus sunlight exposure. And it affects the ripening of the grapes. Okay, and so there's so many different grapes out there now. There's this sapphire grapes that I love at Sam's. They are so good. And so you're looking at the acidity as far as if it's cooler or warmer. And so you want warmer climates, you're going to get a fruitier flavor, while you want a cooler climate, it's going to be a lighter wine. Um, and then it's also going to play a role on when it's going to be harvested as well. So the topography is the geography of the vineyard. That's the elevation, the proximity to bodies of water, and the temperature variations. Those all have an impact. So higher elevations can produce wines that are that are more they complex with higher acidity, higher acidity. Then you got like the microclimates, and this is basically um, a single vineyard or wine region. There could be microclimates that differentiate the grapes, and so this is just the difference in sunlight, wind patterns, and temperature. And so these microclimates, they take advantage of them just from that same vineyard. So that's something as well. Now, this is where I was talking about the Sams and grape varieties. They are planted in a region, often chosen to complement local terroir. And so we are going back to the soils and everything. So grape varieties may thrive in a specific terroir, while others may not produce high quality wines. Okay, so if you're getting not good quality wines, I would say, uh, yeah. So I mean, I all the bottles of wine. At some point, I will. Okay, I'm just gonna put it out there. I plan on buying $100 bottles of wine. At this point, I'm not there. I am learning. Uh, so, and then you got the human influence. Why? Because humans influence every single thing. I mean, we're not even going to go into climate control and all that. So, but the winemaking processes is affected. So you have the fermentation methods, then you have the actual harvesting methods, just the management of the vineyard. Okay, and and so you have to think about what your wine maker is doing. like storing in oak barrels versus steel barrels or something of that nature. Okay. And then the final thing I have is the distinctiveness. And so the Terra gives wine a sense of place and individuality. That's what it has written here. And so it basically makes it's what makes a Bordeaux from France, a Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon, and a Barolo from Italy, all unique and different because you have all these wines from different places and everything. And so that is what makes them different. And so it's basically celebrating the idea that wines can express the essence of their origin. Okay, so when you go and you read the back of these wines, read the back of them. If you don't know much about wines, just read it and it gives you a lot of information. Okay, I like that this bottle is like black, that powder coat black. And so read that information to learn more about it. I like to go to the different websites and just check it out, see what's going on with it, see what I compare it with. Today we had Mexican. and and so I did not check this one because I just gotten it. And we had Mexican food and it went well with my corn. I had street corn. So the street corn that I had was with some of my homemade mayonnaise and my tahini and butter, a little bit of sour cream. And so that was my street corn, and it was absolutely wonderful. And I've been snacking on chips, tortilla chips, going with this. And that sounds a little sketchy, and it may be sketchy, but at the end of the day, it was good. Sometimes you don't have to always listen to what wine parents and sommeliers tell you. You do you on some of these things, but don't don't go into these restaurants. Um, you can still be you. I just like what's the name of Picasso, and we went to Hell's Kitchen. But Picasso with the wine pairings and everything, that was absolutely wonderful, and it brought out the flavors and the origin of these different wines, and I just loved it. And so I talk about that often because I want to do that again. Okay, so that's all I have for you tonight. Hopefully, you got a brief overview of the wills versus the trust, the traditional IRA versus the Roth IRA, and then we talked a little bit about the terroirs as far as wine is concerned. So next week we're going to pick up where we left off. We're going to dive a little bit into estate planning, a little bit more of the tax strategies, and then we are going to talk about wine glasses. And so my goal is at some point is to purchase a couple of wine glasses. I am going to, for the time being, I'm going to purchase. Um, I saw this in the store. They're little wine bottles, small wine bottles, single serve. I'm gonna buy a couple of those for these particular things because having these big bottles, I know what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about storing wine. And so I'm going to keep this bottle and we're going to talk about the different storage ways. And I will be purchasing a couple of storage stoppers of wine, corkers, so that I can keep this because I don't like having my bottles of wine go flat or taste vinegary after drinking just a little bit of it or whatnot. So for this one, for the 19 crimes, I had stoppers, but it doesn't fit the actual opening. And so what I'm going to have to do is take some aluminum foil, cover it, or stick a spoon in it. Okay. And go from there. So that is all I have for you tonight. I did go over by a few minutes, but that is okay. I will talk to y'all another time. Thank you for joining me with Rosa. Bye.